Well, hello! I finally got the motivation to do a super quick update. So I don't know if I showed you this one the last video. This is Phal KS Super Zebra. And I'm trying to get my camera to focus in on it. But she is super fragrant, and I just thought I would tell you that the fragrance on this one does not disappoint. It's one of those plants that I didn't see a whole lot about online. So that's why I wanted to tell you she is fragrant and she's very floriferous. She's making a bunch of new buds off of a bunch of spikes off of a really small compact plant. And this color pattern on her is really awesome, so I recommend this one highly if you can find it. I think they still have a few on orchids.com. Not the best vendor in the world, but they're really good with phals. So if you want to buy phals, they're good. Everything else I haven't bought from them in a while, but they were a little kind of on the iffy side with some Cattleyas I bought, but phals are good. This one is Ian Clark-Ara Aka's Aloha Dream Dust, and actually I think I called it a different name in another video, but she's in bloom again, still very fragrant, and I think probably the best thing about this Cattleya is that she goes through color changes. So when she first opens, she kind of has these picotes, these purple picotes around here, and the yellow is very defined. It's a very yellow bloom when it first opens. And then as it ages, those purple splotches, they kind of start to disappear, and it becomes more of a pure crystalline white with purple spots. The yellow in the throat doesn't disappear though, so that's cool. And this one, I do have it in a wick watering system, and my roots really like that one. Not all my Cattleyas do well in this potting setup, but the ones that like to be drier than most, they do well. And this particular Cattleya seems to not mind being so dry. The fragrance on this one's very floral, and it's really a nice plant. So. This is the second time she's bloomed for me this year also, so it seems like she just blooms off of the new growths and she grows fairly quick, so really awesome. Another plant is the Potenera Dick Smith, and this isn't the Paradise clone, this one is Aloha Spirit. So I actually have both the Paradise clone and the Aloha Spirit. And forgive that brief shot of a poster in the background. I didn't mean to have that there. Let me move this back down. The Aloha Spirit has a lot more yellow in it than the Paradise clone. And the Paradise clone, these kind of purple picote flares on it are not as defined. So that's kind of the difference between the two. The fragrance on them is pretty much identical, as you would expect from plants of the same cross. But yeah, she's really pretty. And this it's kind of interesting because I'm getting some variability on the blooms. Like these kind of ones over here that opened a little bit later, the yellow's not as defined and it's mostly purple, so that's kind of interesting. But the ones that first open on the Aloha Spirit are definitely a lot more yellow than the Paradise clone. This one's also in hydroponics, our wick watering system. So it's pretty much all air, hardly any media at all, and just some a reservoir and then some of these wicks, and my roots really like that one on this as well. So this was a success in hydroponics. My Potenera Dick Smith unfortunately only blooms once a year for me around winter. I'm hoping that will improve because some of my other Cattleyas are blooming more than once a year now that they've gotten a lot bigger. So fingers crossed, because this one's amazing. And I forgot to mention the fragrance on her is very strong, very floral. It's really yummy. It's probably one of the best Cattleya fragrances in my whole collection. It's a bit on the spicy side as well. It's hard to describe. And the last year it bloomed for me, it reminded me of sugar cookies, but this year it does not. So some variability there, but just wonderful Cattleya. This one's for sale at not the Aloha Spirit clone, but this one's been for sale at Akatsuka for a couple weeks now because it is their blooming season and Akatsuka sells them in bud. So if you want this one, go ahead and run down to Akatsuka and buy it. Okay, so this is my Cattleya Nobile Form Amalie. I want to do an update on her because I showed you her in I think it was March of this year after she was done blooming. It was either March or April. And I said, oh my gosh, my wick watering system isn't working on this one. There's a mushroom in the pot. And I said I was disgusted with it and I was going to repot it. Well, I didn't repot it because I'm lazy and I work a lot of hours at my job. So I kept it in the same pot and it recovered really well. My bulbs are huge on this. Do you see that? Even the old bulbs are plumping up. And it's because I had one root that popped out of this new growth, found the wick, and it followed the wick all the way down into the reservoir. And I don't know if you can see this, but yeah, it's branching out in that reservoir now. So this is doing really awesome. So what I do is I fill up the reservoir a little tiny bit, like maybe like not even half an inch of water. I leave that there to dry on its own, and then when it's completely bone dry, I water again. And guess what, guys? I think I have a spike. Do you see that little nubbin popping out? It's the time of year where Cattleya Nobile would want a spike, so I think that's what's happening here. It could also be a new growth. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping that is a spike. Because this one was nice and the fragrance was pretty lovely on it. It was a little difficult to describe, but I really like the fragrance. And unfortunately the form on this isn't award quality. It might be better because the last time I saw it bloom was the first blooming. So we'll see what it does this year. Hey, guess what has buds again? Yeah, that's right. It's the Cattleya Walkeryana lavender form. So this is super awesome because not only does she have buds on this growth, it looks like there's buds coming out from this growth right here as well. So two directions of growth and two spikes it looks like are going to be popping out from this. And then I have a third direction of growth popping up right here, which I don't see any buds forming on it, but the growth itself looks like it has the potential to bloom as well. So it's possible that this particular plant could have 3 spikes with 2 buds apiece, so that'll be quite a good show. Very smelly show as well. Cattleya Walkeryana is hands down one of the most fragrant plants in my whole collection. The only thing, it even beats the Cherry Baby, I think, in a lot of ways. She is in my wick watering hydroponics with no medium and just some wicks and paper towels. Doing really well. I have some new roots popping out and going down into the reservoir. And my old bulbs are very fat. I am not going to divide this one because she's doing so well. What I need to do though is because her habit of growth is so rambling is I need to glue on an additional reservoir onto the end of this pot. And I haven't decided how to do that or even if it's feasible to do that. Or if the glue will leak poisons into the water of the reservoir as well. So it'll be an experiment. Hopefully it doesn't kill my plant. I will make that video. I don't know when because I'm working like 12 hours of overtime because my blood bank lab is going to be moving here pretty soon. So I'm going to be working a bunch of overtime. I'm hoping I have the motivation to do it because I have a bunch of plants making new roots right now. So on to the next one. Guess what's blooming again? Yeah, it's the Rincovola Jiminy Cricket Superbug, and it looks like some of these aren't going to open up completely, but she's still super beautiful, still going to be very fragrant at nighttime, and I'm going to have to take her to a dark room to enjoy her because my lights don't turn off on time. And she is also growing a bunch of roots from her new growth since she's outgrown her pot. I also have some more buds popping out from my other directions of growth, so it looks like I have 3 spikes coming on this particular plant. She used to only bloom once a year for me, as I've said many times before, so this is awesome that she's bloomed 3 times this year. And I also want to kind of up-pot this one. She's not in the largest pot that I have available yet, like the Walkeryana, so I don't have to glue anything. But I am going to want to migrate this on over to another reservoir. So that will be in that video I'm making as well of repotting, so you guys can kind of see my methodology behind repotting. But yeah, super nice. And I forgot to mention this one. I bought this from Orchids.com years and years and years ago, and it was in like a 2 or 3 inch pot, and now she's absolutely enormous. So this one grows really fast and branches out everywhere. So really recommend this one. The fragrance is wonderful too, very citrusy. So Okay, last update for this particular video. This is Cattleya Clandier. I bought it as a seedling from Seattle Orchid a couple years back. And she's grown to be a big and bushy plant. I need to repot her rather soon. And let me just go ahead and show you how she's potted up. It's literally some microfiber wicks, almost no media whatsoever. That goes into a second pot, which acts like a reservoir. There's holes cut in that reservoir so that it dries quicker. And here's my root growth coming off of my Cattleya Clandier. I've got a bunch of roots taking over the reservoir, and those roots are branching out a little bit. Not a whole lot. Cattleya Clandier doesn't seem like it likes to branch out a whole lot, which is a shame. But the most exciting news I have for you guys is that this one, there's something in this second leaf. I can't tell what it is yet because that second leaf isn't very developed, but there's something inside of it. It's cracked open just a little bit and there's something in there, and I'm thinking it's either a third leaf, which would be disappointing, or it is in fact some buds. And I cannot express to you how excited I would be if this thing blooms. And I'm really hoping it has great form, because Cattleya Clandier, I mean, it can have some ugly looking individuals. Let's be real, every species can have some ugly ones, or ones that don't have good form. But I'm hoping it has good form, and I'm hoping this one will be awesome, because I've been waiting years to see this one bloom. So if this blooms, oh my gosh, so exciting. And I'm curious to see what the actual species smells like, because I have a few hybrids of the Clandier. They all kind of have a similar scent, so I'm kind of curious and excited to see what the pure species smells like. And unfortunately, I have no idea what the parents are for this one. It just says Cattleya Clandier Sib, so I can't even look up and see if the parents of this are award quality, or what I can even expect. There's a few varieties of Cattleya Clandier. They vary in the spotting on them. They vary in a lot of different ways. So we'll see what happens. All I know is my Clandier loves this setup. I have roots going everywhere, and this one's been growing pretty much non-stop throughout the year under LEDs. And I know this one's supposed to bloom in the summer, but if it's blooming right now, either it's confused or this thing can bloom just whenever it feels like it. So, alrighty, have a good one. And like and subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Have a great rest of your day.